I think that being in control of your money is the easiest way to not be taken advantage of. And one of the best ways that you can do that is just to manage your spending better. I've recently come back to the UK after traveling Asia. Before we went, we sold everything, so I've had to be buying stuff. And I've been a bit trigger happy on the websites like Amazon, and everything's so easy with Apple Pay. So yeah, I've definitely overspent on stuff, and I started to think I need to put something in place to slow this down a little bit, because it's just really easy to just buy stuff. So I made this thing called a master wish list, and I've got essential purchases and other purchases. The main premise of this is that if you add an item to it, you get this 3-day waiting period, and then after that it needs to be reviewed. So for example, if I'm adding a purchase, let's just say road bike. I've been looking at road bikes. I've already got 2 bikes. I don't need a road bike, so it's not essential. This would be a hobby. Call it 1,000. Use case. I need to actually describe what I'm going to use that for. And you'd be surprised, but your use case and your idea of what you'd actually do with the thing you'd buy can change in such a short period of time. Like, I went in a shop and asked about the bikes, and he was like, do you want a road bike or a gravel bike? And I was like, I'm not really sure. What am I even going to use this for? And then by the end of the conversation, I was like, yeah, I don't want a road bike, I want a gravel bike. You're walking into buying something that could be £1,000 or more, and you aren't even sure what you want it for or what you're going to do with it. So for example, this, you need to put in your use case, because it can change, and you'd probably be surprised at how that might change. And then what happens is, in this waiting period, after this wait days goes to 3 days, they're all in your review period. And then after that, so say that was there. So after the review period, and it's more than 3 days and it's still in review. For example, pillows and winter bedding. What you would do now is, this is how many days it's been. You want to have a cost, the URL, the place where you're going to buy it, basically. And then impulse check. Is this something that you randomly came across the idea of, like, I want to buy a road bike? Or is this a proper planned purchase? Is it something someone suggested to you? Because the point of this as well is, after you purchase something, you can look at, like, this is how much I've spent on impulse purchases in the last 6 months, for example. You can look at the use cases and how you don't even want them for that thing anymore. And it can make you tighten up your spending. I think the easiest way to sort your money situation out is just to spend less. And it's not to spend less to the point where you're now living a shit lifestyle. It's spending less on shit that you don't need because you bought it on an impulse. So we want things which are essential. They're planned purchases. They have a valid use case. 3 days later, you do still want it. It does still seem like a good idea. That's a good purchase. Especially if it's something which is good quality. You're going to get good benefit from it. And you haven't just bought it on a whim because Apple Pay takes 2 seconds. This is solid budgeting advice. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you spend it like it's going out of fashion, you are left with nothing. When you're left with nothing, you're now at the mercy of what you can get hold of. Whether that's debt, or borrowing money from people that you know, or doing some stupid shit to get money together. I've said this in videos before, but I know someone, they went and stole a car. They got £1,000 for that, and they had to split it 3 ways between the guys that were doing it. And I said to him, you do realise that's like 2 days at a normal job. You would have been paid that. That's what desperate looks like. That's what happens when you've spent all your money on shit you didn't need. And it didn't matter how much you've made, because now you need it desperately. And then you do crazy shit like that. Not thinking about the long-term consequences because you're in a short-term survival mindset. Don't put yourself there. It doesn't matter how much you earn. It literally doesn't. If you spend all your money on shit that you don't need, impulse purchases, You get left with zero, you get desperate. There are people that take advantage of people in that situation. Loads of things like that. And that's not what we want. We want to be able to be in control. Make good decisions. Things which make sense long term. Things which you're going to look back at and say, yeah, that made sense. I remember this guy, he used to be in the studio for fucking 12 hours. He's like, I can't even leave before midnight. It just doesn't make sense, you know? And that guy's a serious platinum record producer. There's a bit of a money management thing which has helped me recently. Hopefully someone can take some good lessons from that and not fuck up their life.